हाय फ्रेंड्स। आज हम हॉलीडेज होमवर्क करेंगे क्लास 9 की फिज़िक्स का। चैप्टर 1 के मैंने आपको क्वेश्चंस बता दिए थे पिछली वीडियो में। ये चैप्टर 2 के क्वेश्चंस हैं। डिफाइन रेस्ट एंड मोशन विद एग्जांपल्स। व्हाट इज रिलेटिव मोशन? रेस्ट का पहले नीचे लिखा है, a body is said to be at rest if its position does not change with respect to a fixed points in its surroundings. Examples: a book lying on the table, a bench fixed in a park. Motion: a body said to be in motion if its position continuously changes with respect to its surrounding, changes with time. Examples: a flying bird, a boy playing football. One objects are moving in the same direction. This is relative motion. Translatory, vibratory, rotatory. Define these types of motion with example. Translatory: when an object moves from one place to another place with respect to the frame to reference. Example: motion of a car or bus on straight road. Vibratory: when a part of the body remains fixed and the rest part moves to and fro. Example: when humans breathe, their chest expands and contracts. Rotatory: it is the motion that occurs when a body rotates on its own axis. Example: the motion of the earth about its own axis around the sun is an example of a rotatory motion. Distance, displacement, speed, velocity, and acceleration. Define all terms with example. Distance: the distance of an object can be defined as the complete path traveled by an object. Example: if a car travels east for 5 km and takes a turn to travel north of another 8 km, the total distance traveled by a shall be 13 km. Displacement: it is defined as the change in position of an object. If a professor moves to the right relative to a whiteboard, or a passenger moves toward the near of an airplane. Speed: it is the time rate at which an object is moving along a path. Example: car being driven 45 miles per hour. Velocity: it is the rate and direction of an object's movement. An example of velocity is car driving at 75 miles per hour. Acceleration: rate at which velocity changes with in terms of both speed and direction. Example: when the car is speeding up. Define scalars and vectors with examples. Scalars: a physical quantity that is completely described by its magnitude, length, area, volume, speed, mass, density, pressure, temperature, energy, entry, power. Vector: a vector quantity has both magnitude and direction, displacement, velocity, acceleration, momentum, force, lift, drag, thrust, weight. Define parallel forces like parallel forces, unlike parallel forces. Forces that act in the same or opposite directions at different points an object is called parallel forces. Forces which are parallel having the same direction and acting in a similar way are called like parallel forces. Unlike parallel forces are parallel to each other but are in inverse directions. Last question. Define head to tail rule. To add vector v to vector u, move vector v keeping its length and orientation the same until its tail touches the head of u. ये हमारे क्वेश्चन से एक क्वेश्चन रह गया है, वो मैं अगली वीडियो में कराऊंगा क्योंकि वो लॉन्ग है. अभी के लिए अल्लाह हाफिज़.